I swear to God, I swear to God, I started the recording for this pod the previous night because I couldn't record it over the weekend, and I couldn't record, on Sunday because I had this big commitment on Monday. And then when I tried to record on Monday, something else happened. It's like something was constantly trying to stop me from recording the podcast for you guys. But I'm sorry that it's taking so long. You guys should be seeing this on Wednesday. But this is autosave episode 13. If you still been rocking with me and sticking with me, I appreciate you. Love, peace, chicken grease. Like I always said. But sorry, I'm also extremely tired from work and my personal life. But I've been trying to record this for a while because like I said, I want to stay consistent. But like there's always been like little things that pop up that stop me. But like I said, if you guys been rocking with me, thank you so much. Let me get into today's agenda. So I want to go over the new Marvel Rivals Season 2.5 patch that's coming alongside Ultron. It's actually going to drop on April 30th, which is tomorrow. At least the buffs and the changes. I don't know if Ultron also comes out tomorrow, but the buffs and the changes come out tomorrow. Ultron might still come out May 30th, but we'll get into that. I want to talk about Fatal Fury City of the Wolves doing it big with their prize pool and a surprise classic JRPG release over on GOG. That if you got about $5-10, I think it's $10 to spare, you should go pick it up. And then we'll find out if the story from the previous week, the horror story, was true or not. And let me know if you guys are rocking with the horror story segment. If I should like spin it, twist it up. I got a couple of ideas from some friends about maybe doing a comic book version or whatnot. But you guys let me know. Okay, so I'm gonna start off at the top. Marvel Rivals Season 2.5 patch, right? Was just announced. I want to say a few days ago. Maybe 4 or 5 days now at this point. By the time you guys are reading this, and they didn't have the full patch notes, and now they do. So maybe it's a blessing that the podcast was extended so long. But there's been this patch. I honestly feel like is heavily influenced by that whole support strike that was going on, which is a really ridiculous thing in a video game, but whatever, because of one top player's quote unquote comments by the name of Necros. He's a Spider-Man main, not like me, unfortunately, and he made some egregious comments towards support players that caused a huge stir online. I don't know one for one what was said in those comments that he made. All I know is that it pissed the community off so much to the point where they're gonna dress Spider-Man and buff some supports, because apparently Spider-Man's the problem, not Black Panther, not Iron Fist diving your backlines, just Spider-Man. His uppercut apparently is hits around the world and is the solution to everything. So that's why he specifically has to get nerfed. And honestly, all jokes aside, taking out my sarcasm, like I said, I think this has a lot to do with Necro's comments. So I'm gonna start at the top. Captain America, right? He's been nerfed. They took away 50 health. I never found Cap a problem. Then again, I play Spider-Man. I main Spider-Man. I also been dabbling in some Punisher and some Wolverine, for my duelist that I play. I never really found him to be an issue. Maybe when I play Punisher is a bit of an issue, but I always took it as he's supposed to be countering Punisher. So I don't know. I know some of my buddies have expressed discontent with the character, and said that this nerf was needed. I guess he could have been annoying too. I mean, he was pretty hard to like just get rid of in general, but I don't know how much a 50 health nerf really changes how he plays. I mean, I'm pretty ignorant on the character because I've never really sat down to play him seriously. So if anybody can enlighten me in the comments, please. But I don't know if this was necessary. Now, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange's change is a little weird to me. So what they did was they buffed his ult, and made it go from 3400 to 3100, right? So they made it easier to get his ult. Now, the only thing I found strange, right, about that, the only thing I found strange about Doctor Strange is instead of just making it a flat 3000, they made it 3100. Why not just make it a flat 3000? I don't know. I don't know if this change is gonna affect the meta the way I thought it was. I thought maybe he might be a more solid counter pick towards support ults, because he could probably stun the team before they can get him off. But again, I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna be. I have a buddy who mains tanks. Maybe he can provide more insight, but I don't necessarily know how this change is gonna affect the character. I don't, in my opinion, and this is my opinion as somebody who doesn't play Strange, I don't think this is gonna make him as great as he was in season 1. Do I think it's better? Yeah, it's a buff. Or anytime you get a small buff is better. But do I think it's gonna be a change that's gonna reinvent the wheel? No. All right, now Groot was adjusted, so he was nerfed, right? So they reduced his wall, the health on it, by 100 points. Makes sense. Groot was one of those. Groot is that character. I don't know if you guys ever play fighting game, that a whole bunch of other characters rather get nerfed and buffed, but there's that one character that doesn't get touched. They kind of like ride the stream because nobody's really using them, but they're secretly like the toppest of tiers. But because he's hard to play, nobody's really using him, so he's like riding the stream until all of a sudden he's top tier, like how C Viper was in Street Fighter 4. I think it was AE 2012. Because C Viper hadn't gotten touched, and then she wound up just being this top tier character because she was hard to play. I think it's the same thing with Groot. Groot fell into that effect, so eventually those characters are gonna get adjusted. They're gonna get touched. So it is what it is. Now Spider-Man, this one, you know, I don't know if it's 100% Necro's fault, but I am inclined to blame him because I think they only touched him because supports were complaining about him, and I think a lot of the complaints came from his comments. So Spider-Man, they nerfed his amazing combo, which is the uppercut. They reduced the range from 5 meters to 4 meters. I thought it was going to be worse. This is actually not that bad. If you're a good Spider-Man, this is not going to affect you at all. Now, I know sometimes they do shadow changes that they don't mention in these patch notes because they have. So I don't know if they reduced a few other things. Maybe the speed of his web swing or whatever. We'll find out and see. But if it's just this, 1 meter change is not going to affect a good Spider-Man. A good Spider-Man is still going to bop somebody. So, and you're going to need like a specific team comp to get him. So, I don't know if this is, as a Spider-Man main, this doesn't affect me too much, but I hope they don't touch him even more because Spider-Man is not easy to play. I don't care what anybody says, or despite what anybody says, he's not easy to play. Neither is a character like Black Panther, but Spider-Man can't just delete people the way Black Panther can. Like, you actually have to learn his cancels and his combos to delete people, whereas Black Panther, you just dash, you throw the spear, you dash, and they die. And they can't see you if you're good enough. It takes a while to get that good, but you know, if you're a good Black Panther, you're not getting touched. A good Spider-Man will get touched. So, and one has 300 health, the other one only has 250. You know, so, and I honestly feel like there's a lot worse divers than him. Like, especially now in today's meta, like Black Panther, for example. Iron Fist is another character that got overbuffed. And if you don't take my word for it, because I'm not a top player, you can go watch these other top player YouTube channels and they'll say the same. Spider-Man is never, if even just by one person's viewpoint, out of B rank. So yeah, I don't understand. I think also a lot of the complaints come from console players. And I do feel for console players when they play ranked, because it's harder on controller than it is on mouse and keyboard to track a character like Spider-Man, but he is trackable, unlike Black Panther. Even if you play on mouse and keyboard, it's extremely difficult to track that guy. That guy is all over the place. So, I don't know. It saddens me, but I don't think it's going to affect me too much. Winter Soldier. This one is the one that tilted me. When I first heard about this patch, you're gonna ask my best friend. I practically yelled at him over this because this tilted me. This character did not need any buffs. This character is stupidly broken. He does a phenomenal amount of damage. He has a great hook with amazing stun. He can kill almost any character. He has an easy to do combo. He can reset his, even though he got 3 rounds, he can reset it with his little Hadouken blast. And speaking of the Hadouken blast, that's what they buffed on him. So they buffed his tainted voltage, which is the red blast, and they gave it the ability to have 2 charge levels. Now, my question is what everybody else's question is that plays this game. When they say 2 charge levels, does that mean that you can charge it even more and shoot a more powerful blast? Or does that mean that he gets 2? So like Spider-Man gets 3 web zips, right? You use 1 web zip, you can use another one before the other one recovers, and you can use another one, and then it goes on cooldown. Is it going to be like that? Because if it's going to be like that, he's just going to be straight up deleting people as if he wasn't already doing that. So I think that this buff was unnecessary. I honestly think that this comes from the fact that Thunderbolts is coming out in May, on May 2nd actually. So I think that this is ridiculous. You know, this tilted me, but I'm not going to say too much more. You know, you wind up nerfing something on Spider-Man, but you know, you got characters like him, like Black Panther, like Iron Fist, who just delete people. You know, but they get left untouched. Whereas Spider-Man messes up once, he dies. You know, that's the thing with a Spider-Man play. You cannot mess up. I don't know. I'm going to stop with my little rant, but yeah. Strategist. Now, Adam Warlock added a new effect to Quantum Magic. When a critical hit lands on an enemy, reduce the cooldown time of Avatar Livestream by 1 second. So, this is his charge up blast, right? I was just talking to my buddy about this. This does buff him as a healer and makes his already strong damage that he does, because he's a DPS with healing abilities. That's what I think of him as. It buffs his strong damage power by allowing him to get his healing more often, and it's very easy for Adam to heal the whole team at once. I was telling my buddy, good Adam could just farm the tank, get at least 3 headshots, take 3 seconds off of the healing, and almost always have the healing up. It's kind of strong. It's kind of ridiculous, but we'll see. Cloak and Dagger. This is another part of my French dumbass change. This character did not need to be buffed at all. This character, you have to be very careful with, because they constantly have their ult up, and it's a win condition, their ult. If you don't have a Magneto, their ult is a win condition. I don't care what anybody says. And so it looks like they buffed Cloak's damage from 75 damage per second to 80 damage per second, and they buffed Tandy's damage from 15 to 18. Now I know it seems small, but both Cloak and Tandy's attack track. On top of that, they're already so good at building ult. Like, this one doesn't make any sense to me at all. The Luna Snow one, let's get into Luna Snow. It doesn't bother me so much. It's just the fall damage for when she's hitting from far. Doesn't bother me much. Doesn't bother me much. I think this is fine. This is whatever. Mantis. Now they increased the damage of life energy blast from 50 to 55. If this is, I wonder, is this the sleep or is this the auto attack? Because if it's the auto attack, I play her, but like I don't really know the name of her moves. If this is the auto attack, this might be a little broken, because she also gets headshots, and then she can also buff her damage herself. So that 55 can get multiplied many times over. So it's just, I know, it's just interesting to see what in the world is going to happen. And then there was a team up ability buff, which I think this is going to be annoying. Like, you nerf Captain America only to make this more annoying. So now, when they leap to one another, they give 50 bonus health to the allies around them. That's gonna be annoying, and it can turn the tide of a fight. but I don't know how effective it's gonna be. We're gonna see. I don't know. I think this patch is I don't know. Something about it just doesn't sit right with me. And this is outside of the Spider-Man stuff. I don't know if they did too much or too little. And I know I was saying like the Spider-Man thing doesn't matter because it was too little, but I know they're probably afraid of overchanging certain things, but I don't know, especially since the mid-season patch. But I mean, I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. But I'm on the fence of this patch was not necessary, and this patch is only coming out because of the whole support strike thing that had to do with Necros. Now, whether Necros wants to deny it or not, because I saw some videos with him on YouTube. At the end of the day, they're basing it off your comments, dude. It is what it is. You know, you can argue back, but you can't win against the internet. So, whether you believe it or not, that's not how this works, buddy. But yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments below and let me know. I love to hear everybody's thoughts. Now I want to get into our next topic. I want to talk about Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, which recently came out and I need to pick up. The only reason I haven't picked up the game is because I will be having hand surgery soon, and I will only have one hand, and I can't play a fighting game with one hand. I'll be playing a lot of JRPGs on stream, so yeah, I hope you guys tune in for that. Because that's pretty much what I can play with one hand if I do play any games. But yeah, Fatal Fury. It looks like they're upping their prize point. It might be to compete with Capcom's Pro Tour because they're gonna have their own Pro Tour. So this comes over from GameRant.com, and on GameRant it looks like Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, quote, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves will boost an impressive prize pool of 2.5 million at this year's SNK World Championship, despite the game's lukewarm release. You know, I honestly believe this is because a lot of the funding and where they got the funding from. As you know, that country has a lot of money and they like dumping it into entertainment things like combat sports, gaming they're getting into. So it just helps them to compete, and this might get more people to purchase the game because this also helps them to compete with Street Fighter 6. But yeah, I thought this was pretty cool and I wanted to shout it out and mention it because I don't think I've seen a lot of news with Fatal Fury recently, especially with the last thing I saw was negative towards all the guest people coming in. Like, there wasn't too much negative for Cristiano Ronaldo, who's actually in the game. But the DJ guy, I have no idea who that is. I mean, I don't know why they would have added him, but you know what? Some Italian DJ, it is what it is. Sorry, I'm really tired, guys. I'm sorry about the yawn. There was a whole bunch of ads. I know they for the Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, Devin Haney, whoever he's fighting. That boxing match that's coming up. They were sponsoring that event, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. So they've been around, but I haven't been hearing any game outlets really talk about it, even a fighting game community. There's a website I used to go to all the time called Event Hubs. I haven't really been on there in a while, but yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. Of course, I'm gonna post all the links to the articles, and you guys should check it out because this is a big prize pool, especially as a fighting game player. I remember being in the FGC, and a lot of those dudes are broke in the FGC. And, you know, it's hard, especially in New York. It's hard to live in New York. Economy is bad as it is. You know, having a decent, stable job is very difficult. Job security is not promised anymore to anybody. So, you know, if somebody can win this could really change somebody's life. You know, there's a lot of money, and you know, I'll be playing, but I don't know if I'll be competing. I'm a dad. I got responsibility as both a husband and a father. I don't think that I have the time for this as I might have wished to have the time for it. But you know, I like to show support to fighting games because I do love fighting games, and I'm a big fan of Terry Bogard. So shout out to SNK for doing this for the community. Okay. Now I want to get into the next topic because I'm loving all the releases of the classic JRPGs that we're getting. So the next, it looks like over on GOG.com, they did a shadow release with Capcom of Breath of Fire 4. for $10 you could pick up this game on GOG, and it's DRM free for the PC. I'm assuming that Capcom released this as almost a test the waters, because I don't know if you guys remember, they had the survey. Breath of Fire was one of the games on there, and I think it scored pretty high. This is awesome. Breath of Fire is a great RPG series. This is going to be excellent for lovers of classic JRPGs. As you guys know, on the previous week, I talked about the Lunar remaster collection that came out, which I'm currently playing right now. If you guys been watching me on Twitch, twitch.tv/RabbitXP. But this game has a shocking surprise. This was a shadow drop. I will be purchasing this myself to play. It's only $10. If anybody wants to see these Breath of Fire games come to PC, come to consoles, modern day consoles, they are a great set of JRPGs. You can actually play a few of the classic ones if you have the Switch Online. They have Breath of Fire 1 and 2. The SNES versions, they have that on the Switch Online if you have that. But my favorite was for the PlayStation. It was Breath of Fire 3. So I'm hoping that one gets released. But support this game. Pick it up if you can. I promise you, it's money not wasted, and it is a great JRPG that is a lot of fun. It has a pretty cool story. The main character doesn't ever really change, Ryu, but throughout the series, but each one is their own contained game. So you can almost think of it as like Final Fantasy, just with a recurring same main character, same name. It's not the same main character, but it's like, think of it like alternate universes with that character living through these different universes of what ifs, and it's pretty cool. I wholeheartedly am behind this, and I love this renaissance of classic JRPGs we're getting. Everybody knows me. I really wish we would get Xenogears. You know, Xenogears is a classic JRPG that's near and dear to my heart. We already got Star Ocean. I want Legend of Dragoon to come to PC. I know it was released on PlayStation, but I really wanted to come to PC because I would love to play those games again too. PC gamer, since I'm a PC gamer, but without having to run it on an emulator. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is awesome. You guys should check it out. I promise you, it is not money wasted, and you guys will absolutely love it. It has a really cool story. This one, it has 2 different parts. You can play as Ryu, or you play as the Emperor Folu, and yeah, it's awesome. The art design is great. Yeah, you guys, I promise you, I can't speak more highly of this game. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you're gonna pick it up, and make sure you do watch me on twitch.tv/RabbitXP, because if I get through the Lunar games, which I don't think so, I think they're gonna last me maybe for the week. Especially Lunar 1 and Lunar 2. Lunar 2 is a little longer with extra stuff. This will probably be the next one that I play. Alright guys, I want to get into our final topic. I know this is a shorter pod than usual, but like I said, I've had a pretty busy week, especially with all the prep stuff I have to do for surgery. I've been compounded with stuff for work. It's been a very busy weekend with like celebrations and stuff, but let's get into the story from last week. Our fact or fiction, is it reality or not? I am going to finally answer that question for the horror story from last week. So tell me what you got. I mean I know some of you guys commented, but tell me really quick before you click the end of this, tell me if you guys think it's true or not. So yes, if you answered that the story was true, yes, it was true. So this did happen in the year of 1922 in New Brunswick, New Jersey. It was a minister, Edward Wheeler Hall, who was having an affair, and it looks like try as they might, the prosecution could find no evidence to convict any of the people who were suspects in the murders. But yeah, you know, the prime suspects, like we said, it was the brothers who were considered suspect. It was the other parties who were involved, the other husband and wife who were being cheated on. But yeah, this was a true story. So if you answered true, I think I saw somebody comment last week that this was true. You are absolutely correct. You are on the money. So I hope you guys like this story. Like I said earlier, if you guys think that maybe I could do a different segment with comic book stuff or like video game horror stuff, and we could start going into maybe doing deep lore versus a fact or fiction kind of thing, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I hope you guys like the pod. I'm sorry for the late one, and like, share, and subscribe if you can. And like I always say, you don't have to save it. You don't need a memory card. You don't need an NVMe drive, because guess what? Here we're going to auto save. Thank you for tuning in for episode 13, and everybody have a good night.